Hello. Messenger Rising just came out with a video about, well, he titled it Movies in Our Minds without going into all the nuances that encapsulate that video. Basically, one of the main ideas that I came away with from that video was we all grow up with hopes and dreams and desires and aspirations. We all have these motivations that come and go. We've all had the what are you going to be when you grow up question. Young boys usually have some kind of astronaut, policeman, or fireman answer. And the reason that those kids come up with those answers is, varies. A lot of times it's, wow, that's really a cool job and it's exciting and they want an exciting life. They want to explore that. It's unknown to them. Obviously, kids don't have a good understanding of the politics involved in a workplace. But we all have some kind of motivation which drives us, which gets us up in the morning, which makes us go out and brave the day. His video really hit me hard because I remember growing up, I didn't really know what I wanted to be, and then I picked a path. I wanted to go into the military and become a fighter pilot. That was my thing as a kid because it was amazing. You see these aircraft flying around. I grew up in the military, and I grew up on military bases, and I see these really powerful machines flying across the sky, and I wanted to be part of that. Going through college, I did not do well moving toward that goal, and I eventually had to go into a different direction. But we don't keep that same motivation, that one goal that we really want to pursue all throughout our lives. They change based on our circumstances. Men going MGTOW, they've separated themselves from the possibility of becoming locked into this one direction. They've basically cut the possibility of being anchored to another person or another couple people, a wife and kids. I've been married for a while, about 6 years, and the one thing that constantly stays with me is that my options, my possibilities to pursue whatever it is that drives me and motivates me to get out of bed in the morning, they've basically gone away. You basically lose your ability to change your direction in life to a huge extent. To those guys that don't really get why men go MGTOW, here's one more reason. When you get married, you are locked. It's like I say it's like owning a farm. When you own a farm, you can't go on vacation. You can't do anything because something depends on you permanently for its sustenance. The cows, the pigs, the chickens, whatever it is that you're growing on your farm. You have to constantly be engaged with that one thing. Now, if that's the thing that you want to do, then so be it. But average man out there doing their thing, we have different motivations, which, like I said, get us up in the morning, and they change as you discover new things about life. Maybe as you're going through your formative years, you didn't have enough education. I'm not talking about traditional education. I'm talking about you weren't aware of this occupation or that occupation or this place or that place. So, one day you discover the Virgin Islands. You discover the China, the mountain ranges in China, or you discover the old Soviet cities in Russia, and you want to explore that. You can't, by and large. You're not free to just go do something. The things that you own are owned by somebody else. Your time, to a certain extent, is owned by somebody else. My biggest complaint with marriage is the surveillance that comes along with it. Somebody is always aware and entitled to be aware of everything you do, think, and say. You are basically put into the permanent politically correct environment once you're married. When you're single, you go to work, you come home. You have no other obligations to anyone unless you've made certain commitments. When you're married, you have permanent obligations to someone else, emotionally, time-wise, activity-wise. Messenger's video talks about men losing hope to pursue what it is that they hope to be in the future. And the thing about marriage is that not only can you lose that hope internally, but you have external reinforcement of that lost hope. As I've said before, my wife is a great woman. She's a great woman. She's not those things that are described. She's not a Nawalt, because as everybody knows, and it is absolutely true, there are no such things as Nawalts. She has, the basic female flaws, so to speak, character flaws and whatever, but relative to men. And I'm not bashing her in this. The nature of women is what it is. Nature of men is what it is. But signing that document, and I do want to put in the disclaimer that women are not always a toxic human being. That's not the point. Signing that document, which permanently ties you to a person with state reinforcement, when you sign that document and you become married, you become a ward of the state in a very real way. When you become married, you are voluntarily accepting personal slavery to a contract for the rest of your life. Yes, divorce is a possibility, and divorce is the ultimate get out of jail free card. And it's not free, but once you're free of it, you're free and clear, unless you become a wage slave because of alimony or whatever. And that's really my point here. Marriage is a cliff. Marriage is not a hill you walk up together hand in hand, as some may try to get you to think. Marriage is a cliff that you voluntarily step off of and fall. Any hopes and dreams you had before are now owned by somebody else. Not only does that woman own your stuff, not only does that woman own your time, she owns your mind. So many people make light of the pressures and challenges that come with married life. The nagging, they make jokes about it. And that's a shame, because it is a huge issue. It's no small thing to lose your personal ability to do as you wish. It is no small thing. Any man desiring marriage, whether it is for cultural reasons or religious reasons or personal reasons, be aware of what you're signing over to the state, to that woman or man in this day and age. Be aware of what you're doing. You are not committing yourself to a lifetime of happiness. You're not committing yourself to another person. You are putting yourself into a prison cell. Sure, I could ride my motorcycle across the country. I could pick up and do certain things. The ball and chain is actually a very good metaphor for married life. The ball and chain is a weight that you're connected to, a steel weight. Everything you do, everything you say, everything you think, everything you pursue comes with a new price tag. You now have to weigh all those things with somebody else in mind. It's not a small thing. Using the metaphor of the ball and chain, imagine attaching a ball and chain to every action that you do for the rest of your life. That's a very good description of what married life is. Your ball and chain might be pretty light. The person may be accepting and help you even in some cases to do whatever it is that you want to do. It's the chain that makes marriage what it is. If you're holding something that's very heavy, maybe you love that ball, that steel ball that you have to carry around. Maybe you pick up that ball of steel and you love that ball of steel. But what if that ball of steel eventually corrodes your hands, for example? I don't know. Imagine that ball of steel becomes a burden later in life. Imagine that ball of steel literally keeps you from doing what you want to do. Imagine you want to climb a hill holding on to that ball of steel. You cannot put it down. You now have to drag that ball of steel along with you up that hill. They romanticize this concept. It's you taking that ball of steel with you and you're overcoming that hill together. If you didn't have that ball of steel, it wouldn't be overcoming that hill. You'd just be climbing it and you could enjoy every step. The marriage is the chain that you can't cut. You're permanently connected to that ball of steel. And it is not the woman. Again, I'm not talking about the woman's personality. I'm not talking about the fact that she's a pain in the ass. She's somebody that you can't get along with. Some people have great relationships. That's not the point. The point is, she owns you, and you now have a jailer, if you will. You have somebody who has the right to stop you, to restrict you. It is not the person. It is not the personality of the person. It's not whether you get along with her. It's not whether you love her. It is the fact that she owns your ass. I comically call my wife the state-appointed parole officer. Well, that's actually a pretty good statement. And again, it's not her. It's not her. It's not whether she's ugly or beautiful, whether she's hit the wall, whether she's a spendthrift and she makes you, and she spends all your money. Some do, many do. But that's not the point. The point is not whether or not she's a problem. The point is that she's not somebody that you can drop. And it's not something that you can even decide. She decides whether she's going to drop you or she'll take your money. She'll take your livelihood. She'll turn you into a wage slave. It's the consequences of that marriage contract that is the problem. You have hopes, dreams, and ambitions. Imagine you get married. You had hopes and dreams and ambitions, and then suddenly you find out that you can't pursue those. You find out suddenly, after 12 years, 20 years of marriage, that you've been doing nothing but going to work, going home, going to work, going home, going to work, going home, going on vacation, going to work, going home, and then you die. Maybe they didn't get in your way. Maybe the woman or the man didn't get in your way that entire time. But you realize that you're no longer working for yourself. Any ambitions you had are now subjugated to your partner. It's now about them. Yeah, like I said, they romanticize this concept. But it's not romantic. It's not a beautiful thing. It's fucked up. You're now working for a master because of what they can do to you, because of the fact that they own you. It's the contract. The state owns your ass. The woman owns your ass. And maybe they don't get in your way. But the fact is, at this point, you're doing the things that you want to do, confined within that jail cell. If that jail cell wants to constrict you, it can. If you're okay with that, so be it. But you're a happy prisoner in that case. The fact is, you have walls that if they so choose, they can bind you up, put you into a closet if they want to. Why would anybody voluntarily lock their jail cell from the inside? Why would anybody get married? It's the same thing. If you're okay with the confines of your cell, that's not the point. The fact is, you've confined yourself voluntarily. For any men who are considering marriage for religious reasons or anything else, stop yourself and think, is this really a good idea? Do not let marriage become about them. I would suggest nobody gets married ever again. Have kids, whatever, but don't ever marry. Do not put yourself into that position. And that's really my point of this video. You're locking your own chains. You're locking your own jail cell door from the inside and giving the key to somebody else. It is not a romantic ideal. It is self-imprisonment and nothing else. Thanks to Messenger Rising for your topic, your video. I found it thought-provoking. I appreciate all the MGTOW videos out there. Men considering marriage, if you're single right now, you own yourself. If you get married, you're signing yourself over to someone else. Really consider, is that what you want? Do you really want to lock your own chains and give the key to somebody else? I would seriously suggest that you rethink that. Don't let them lie to you. Personal freedom is your most valuable asset. Give that up, and it's very difficult to ever get it back. Thanks for listening.